Okay, if I can have your attention, please. If everybody can grab their desserts, get their drinks, make sure you got a lot of drinks. Don't forget to tip your bartenders. We will begin what began a lot of years ago, and I will now introduce to you the governor of Doctor of Pipes and the Shane. Are you the Dave? You're the master of masters. So Linwood Hines, the current governor of the Doctor of Pipes, the one that wrangles cats professionally, and Dave Shane will start the formal presentation off with Linwood.
No, I'm not. No.
Okay.
No, you said I could just look pretty.
And you are.
It's going to take a while, but you know.
Okay. Think about, this is 2025. First of all, we have to have the safety message for everyone. And normally in formal situations, gentlemen should not have their hats on. However, sometimes if you don't wear your hats, then you have to wear your hats. Gentlemen and some ladies, please wear your hats in the sun. Okay? All right, so this is 2025. Think back to 1998. The Chicagoland Pipe Club started trying to recognize what people were doing in the hobby, and we use that term a lot, in the hobby. So we think it's kind of contemporary, but back then they were doing this. Pardon me?
Louder if you please.
Louder, I'm sorry. Wear your hat. Okay, so back in 1998, this Chicagoland Pipe Club, which was well formed by then with a lot of great people, started trying to recognize people that had been doing things in their criteria in the hobby for 20 years. So we're going back to 1978. And as I look around the room, there are a lot of you all that weren't even born in 1978, much less smoking pipes. But the people that were in the Chicago Club had a leader, Mr. Frank Burla, who the club recognized and was one of the two first doctors of pipes. What a crazy way to do things, but they thought that was a great way to put it, because these people have been doing these things and creating this hobby, so to speak, for 20 years. The other person that was first was Thomas Dunn. Tom Dunn, for those that don't know, wrote a completely free newsletter on pipe smoking based on letters that were written to him from all over the world, and he distributed those newsletters all over the world for free. And he did it for many, many years. So he was Tom and Frank Burla were the first two doctors in 1998. In 1999, this grew, and we started recognizing people not only that did neat stuff for the hobby like the newsletters and all, but people in retail that were doing things for the hobby and growing it, not just selling something, but growing it through their business. So we had a gentleman named Barry Levine that some of you all will remember, used to send out in the mail to anybody that was interested, and it became in the thousands, about 50 photographs in an envelope with pipes for sale. But on top of that, he was working to start clubs and start pipe shows. Okay? I'm not sure the first year that Chicago had their pipe show. I think I missed the first two. So as this went on, show after show that Chicago had, they kept honoring people. And the people that were doing these things, which kind of sounds like, okay, so that's their hobby, but it reached around the world. Now, my club, the Core, had their first show in 1985. And because of what the Chicago Club was doing, we found an honorarium through a lot of people. The CPCC, the Chicago Club, recognized from then till now, 54, I should say until last year, 54 ladies and gentlemen as doctors of pipes. Again, most of these people were doing these things for the hobby for 20 years. They were organizing clubs, they were organizing shows, they were writing books, they were writing newsletters. All of these things all the way around the world. And now the club is built to this point of recognizing everybody, putting this on, and effectively honoring every one of you. Okay? So I'd like to list the doctors of pipes that have unfortunately passed on, but it's a long list, and I won't go into that. If anyone's interested in the past, I can give them the copies of the information. But again, tonight we're honoring some very special people. Thank you.
And we will get this started off. So the Master of Pipes was created as a way to honor those that had maybe been in the hobby or in the industry for 10 years and was younger, because at the point where I got my Master of Pipes, I was the youngest by about a decade, or Doctor of Pipes. So we begin with, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through the list of people that are here. If you're here, please stand up. Accept the applause of those around you. If you're not with us, well, don't stand up. But the first two Masters of Pipes were the current Master of Masters, Dave Shane, for his work primarily with the Free Pipe Project and getting pipes and tobaccos to those overseas. And Sykes, just stay seated because you'll be standing again, because Sykes Wilford from Laudisi you had been in the business at 17 years at that point, so you were what, 23? Yeah. Aziz Panjani for his work with the Chicagoland Pipe Club and the website. Jeff Graysick Jeff, stand up so we all see you. There we are. For fostering the next group of pipe makers. Speaking of the next group of pipe makers, Adam Davidson. Adam, I saw you. Are you here? There he is. And then in 2020, it was Chad Terpstra primarily for his work on Father the Flame. I don't think Chad's here. I saw Jeremy earlier this weekend, so that was kind of cool. And then my buddy and pal and favorite hobbit, John David Cole. Stand up. No, there. I don't think I've told this story too much, but John David, when he started his podcast with his friend Bo York, Bo pulled John David out of himself, actually elevated my podcast game and made me at least want to buy better microphones so that I sounded less annoying.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. Thank you. Dave, if I miss anybody, let me know. But Michael Parks and Shane Ireland are here. Where's Shane? There they are. Neil Osborne, the one and only NPod 101. James Foster, who is looking better and better every day, especially in the fancy blue jacket. Stand up, show it off. There it is. Nathan King. Does that sound, Nate, the king of pipes? Last year's winners, I hate to call them winners, but last year, those that were awarded it are, honorees. There you go. Thank you, Dr. Hannah. Jay Furman and Steve Norse, and I know they're both here, one from the hobby, one from the industry side. Steve's under the table already.
But he's wearing his hat.
But he's wearing his hat safely. Yes, so, all right. Thanks, Steve, for not being here. All right, so now we fast forward to the honorees for 2025, and I will quickly read their nomination letters. And we'll move over into the light, and Dave will get ready with the plaques or the pins or whatever. All right. So the way it works is usually in most years, in all years, there's one from the hobby side, one from the industry side. And from the hobby side for this year, I'm going to do this in honor of Frank Burla, who used to try to keep the person's name out until the very end, even though you all know because the internet leaks stuff nowadays, especially the Chicago Pipe Club's account. This person has been a pipe smoker for over 40 years and produces the Pipes, Tobacco, and Whiskey YouTube show, engaging viewers with reviews, history, and interviews with people in the industry. Tom is a retired high school band director, which go band geeks, who directed young minds to hone their musical skills over the years. As a trumpet player, which means he was very frisky. He is a jazz trumpet player, extra frisky. And early on, I added some parts in there. And early on, toured with Maynard Ferguson. During his touring, he discovered that life on the road was not for him and thus became a band director. With his audience, he engages people both young and old with a wide range of pipe and tobacco topics. His vlogs feature his sons, who are also pipe smokers, as well as getting a younger perspective, applying his teaching ability honed after many years. He now reaches and teaches pipe smokers to educate and expand our community. He's been interviewed on the Pipes Magazine radio show. I swear I didn't write this. And he survived. I wrote that. Tom is a member of several pipe clubs, such as the North Texas Briar Club and the Austin Pipe Club. Tom and Sons have also sponsored multiple tables at the Texas Pipe Show over the past 3 years, sharing their vast collection of tobacco sharing samples with all attendees. What is written above is pulled from his interview and direct knowledge of the nominee. So for 2025, from the hobby side, Tom Kuhn. And now Tom comes up and receives his official his special certificate. Band director, the microphone's yours for a minute or two, if you'd like to thank all your sons.
Or 5. I've timed it. Thank you guys, I really do appreciate this. This is absolutely an honor and a pleasure. I have it written down. I don't want to mess up because there's too many important people that I need to make sure. There's no greater reward than to be recognized by your peers for your contributions. And to be included with such people and pipe enthusiasts like David Shane and Jeff Graysick and Adam Davidson, you heard the list, it's a phenomenal list, is truly, truly humbling. some of you probably are wondering, who is this guy and what has he done for the pipe community and for the hobby as a whole? And I look at you and say, I have the same question sometimes. I am not exactly sure, but I would like to share just a very little bit of my story that brought me to where we are today. Those of you that know me know that I have 3 sons, and that we started a quaint little YouTube channel called Pipes, Tobacco, and Whiskey about 6 years ago, not quite 6 years ago. This all began really for very selfish reasons. I had just retired from being a high school band director in Texas, and I wanted to share my passion and knowledge of pipe smoking with my 3 boys, who at the time were all involved in other forms of tobacco. My oldest son, Nathan, who is regularly on the show with me, was a cigarette smoker. My middle son, Colton, was a smokeless tobacco user. And my youngest son, Ian, was a vape user. My goal was twofold. I wanted to try to get my boys to try the pipe smoking and to get them off these other forms of tobaccos. And the other actual reason was because I wanted to spend quality time with these kids that I had neglected through the years of being as a band director. My idea was to create a video history of my boys and I trying different tobaccos and talking about the things that we tasted, what were some of the differences in style and cuts and blends, and how different leaves reacted in different styles and sizes of pipes, all with the hopes of being a mentor and helping guide them to correctly smoking and enjoying the pipe. Little did I know that other people were actually, that had actually some things in common with what we were doing. We're actually going to watch these videos and get involved and share their passions as well. So while this was developing, while we were just getting started and getting things rolling, I kind of conned my daughter into being a part of this as well, because me being as old as I am, I didn't know the world of computer and social media like the kids did. So she was my social media producer. She was posting our links to Facebook and to Instagram, and she was making special banners for special days of the year, like International Pipe Smokers Day and all the different holidays and things like that. While we were doing that, my wife, Julie, also became involved with helping us at the Texas show with our table of tobacco tastings, and she's also a go-getter about going out and finding things to shoot videos about. She did all of our shirts and advertising, and also finding some material for us. This has really kind of developed as a family affair, and I can honestly say that this burden of love has brought us, our family, closer together and has allowed us to share experiences with each other literally all over the world. We started as what started as a bonding experience with my boys has developed into lifelong friendships with lots of people in this community. And to me, I feel like it's due to the support and kindness of you, the pipe community. We truly feel blessed. I would like to recognize a few people that have contributed to the success of our channel and supported us through the years. First of all, I would like to thank the Chicagoland Pipe Collectors Club for hosting this awesome show and providing a venue for this award. Thank you to the Doctors and Masters of Pipes, for their confidence and the recognition of our work. I'd like to thank James Foster for, he's the president of the Austin Pipe Club, who nominated me for this honor. To the members of both the North Texas Pipe Club and the Austin Pipe Club for the support that they have given. Two very important supporters of the show in the tobacco industry was Sutliff Tobacco Company, Jeremy McKenna, president, and Missouri Merchant Company, Shannon Hoke, general manager. These individuals have given us their time and their resources to ensure that our channel continued to grow and succeed. Thank you to my family for your support of my hobby. And certainly not least, thanks to all the subscribers, contributors, and weekly comment givers of our channel. It's you who keep our purpose of educating and sharing alive and well in the YouTube community. Cheers to all, and don't forget, make all your piping moments count. Thank you very much.
And while we get a few more pictures there, our next master of pipes, and I'll read this in the style of Frank Berla, leaving the name off to the very end. He began as a handmade pipe maker after, I got to insert a few things in here, I'm sorry. I'm just not getting away with that, and that's just too easy. He began as a guitar player, Grammy-nominated guitar player, right? Yeah, okay. Idolized a certain other guitar player in another band that was a little older than him, and then, now I'll add this in. Then he began as a handmade pipe maker, learning from Todd Johnson and a certain Jody Davis, his guitar idol, in Nashville, Tennessee. After having established his reputation for making high quality and uniquely designed handmade pipes, he began working with Todd to create the American pipe making manufacturer Briarworks. Now in its 10th year of operation, he, leaving his name out, has led Briarworks as it has established a reputation for making high quality pipes at an affordable price. Beyond the building of a brand, he and his employees at Briarworks built out a storefront and a lounge in Columbia, Tennessee that has become a community gathering place for pipe smokers. Furthermore, he has led the creation of the Muletown Pipe Show that has quickly generated national attention and draws pipe enthusiasts from across the country to celebrate our shared hobby. In fact, I think the most recent numbers are that it's the second largest gathering in North America of pipe smokers in one place. Am I right? Yeah, 700? Yeah, anyway. His work with Briarworks and his own handmade brand deserve to be recognized with a Master of Pipes Award for its role in education, community building, mentorship of both pipe makers and pipe smokers, and contribution to a growing commercial business in our hobby, Pete Prevost.
You want to start going, Tom, or might say something?
You mind holding that for me?
Yes.
Thanks. All right. I don't have a speech prepared, but I did make a couple notes because there are some people I don't want to forget to thank, and this is a little stressful. So I did play guitar on stage a lot. It's a little different when you're just playing guitar, not speaking in front of people. I just want to start by saying that first,
From that. There you go, now talk.
so when I first started making pipes in 2008, my local tobacconist was Uptowns. And I would go over there and, hang out with them and talk about, pipes and tobaccos. And the first, pipe kit, like a lot of guys start with, I got my Pimo pipe kit. The first one I finished out, I went over there and, had to show it off to them. And I was so excited about this finished pipe. And they were very encouraging. And it just so happened that Aaron Sissom was there at the moment. And he said, Pete, come over here. I want to introduce you to somebody. And Per from S-Bang happened to be there at Uptowns. And I didn't even know who that was. Like, I was so green to this industry. I liked pipes. I knew who Jody was. I knew that, of a few people, but I didn't know anything about all these amazing carvers and collectors. And so he walked me over, introduced me to Per. And looking back on it now, it's like actually terrifying. But at the moment, I met this Danish carver, and he looks at the pipe and he looks it over and he goes, "That's pretty good. Could be better." And so it was just an amazing moment. And now knowing, more about the history of pipes and all the influential people, that story actually means a lot to me. I don't tell that story ever, but it's a special moment. So I do want to thank the first person that ever brought me into his shop, Jody Davis. Amazing friend. He's a dear friend. And he taught me the basics. He taught me the first things I ever needed to know. He introduced me to Todd, and Todd was so welcoming and brought me into his shop. And from that point on, pretty much, Jody and I were both touring in bands. We were never home at the same time, so I started spending time in Todd's shop. And so, Todd and I worked together closely, obviously started Briarworks together, but I owe so much to Todd. I wouldn't know anything about pipes if it wasn't for Todd and Jody. And then a special one. I didn't actually learn as much from him about pipes, but we worked together a lot. And he was a mentor, Bruce Weaver. Miss that guy. Also would love to thank all of our current, past employees at Briarworks. Got some of my Briarworks family here, Micah, Sam, Emily. Thank you, Sykes and Smoking Pipes, for taking a risk on a new carver. 2012 was the year that they came and picked up my pipes, and actually Adam Davidson and Sykes came over and did that. And then I met Shane, and Shane's an amazing friend of mine. And he's been buying pipes for me, for smoking pipes for years, but our friendship goes way beyond that. And then he handed it over to Truett, and Truett has been an amazing friend. And I also would like to thank Per Bill Hall, because Scan Pipes has also supported me and sold my pipes. And lastly, I want to thank my family. My wife has put up with so much, and me just being gone all the time and working on pipes late nights. So thank you to my wife and kids, and thank you again to all of the, masters, doctors, everybody that brought me into this. I appreciate it so much. This industry means so much to me, and thank you.
All right, let's see. Does this one work? Yes, this one works. Good. All right, now as we move on to the, let's just say the doctors, I'm going to need some help. And when I knew I needed help with this, I thought, no better else person to listen to, although I don't understand him too much. My old friend, the pipe stud himself, Steve Fallon. So, Steve, if you want to come on up here and help me. There's a microphone for you. You remember those? You used to talk a lot in those until your wife took it away from you.
I can't talk at all.
Okay, good. There you go. All right, so as Linwood said earlier, the Doctor of Pipes started a long time ago, and I thought, it's important to go back through and name off all those who came before us If you are in the room and willing and able to stand when we call your name, please do so. But Steve and I are going to take turns going back and forth through the entire list of past doctors of pipes, and just a little bit about what they did that set them apart from the rest of the crowd and made them get their nomination, except there might have been a bad year about 10 years ago, right, Steve?
Kind of bad.
Yeah. People will think you're funnier if you do it into the microphone.
Well, I wasn't going to say it publicly,
Oh,
but it
okay.
was kind of bad.
All right. So we'll start it off. The one, and let's just be honest, none of us would really be here if it wasn't for Frank Burla. And Frank obviously got this show started, took this show to the next level, worked on this show 365 days a year, ate, slept, and talked this show. So now we'll go back and forth taking turns. Steve, your turn.
We'll start with Tom Dunn, editor and creator of the Pipe Smokers Ephemeris, the original social media of pipe smoking, and all done at his own expense.
And then Basil Sullivan, longtime Sheraton collector, encyclopedic knowledge of pipes and tobaccos. He was always happy to share his information with anyone and everyone.
Chuck Levy, longtime supporter of the Chicago Pipe Show and owner of Iwan Reeves, sponsor of the thousands of gallons of coffee, and the person that is lucky to be married to Sussy.
And Ed Lehman, gentleman collector, friend to all pipe smokers. He liked large pipes as well as, and then he amassed a famous collection of 250 Dunhill red barks. In the end, he was known for his gold-banded Dunhill collection. 250 red barks. Even smoking pipes couldn't buy all those at once.
Bet they could.
Oh, they would, but...
Rich Esserman, longtime prolific writer in the Ephemeris and the NASPC pipe collector, organizer of the many New York pipe shows, and the original Big Pipe Guy.
Bob Hamlin, enthusiast, collector, dealer. Bob would go to any show or gathering of pipe smokers to support and spread the word of our hobby anywhere in the country, and he usually drove there.
Mary McNeil, founder of McClellan Tobacco Company, longtime supporter of most pipe shows, a kind and gentle soul that also created and actually illustrated the tins of the famous Frogmorton blends.
Chuck Rio, collector of Costello pipes. There are many people in the room right now that have a love of Costello pipes because of Chuck Rio. Always happy to share his knowledge and experience. For me personally, he was a must-stop by on the room hopping back in the old Pheasant Run days, and the room was open to everybody, and there was always drinks in there, and always tobacco, and always stories, and it went on for all night.
Peter Stokeby, third-generation leader of the namesake tobacco company. Peter was an ambassador for pipe tobacco and a friend to everyone he met.
And if anybody doesn't like the fact that I'm in the tobacco industry, you can blame Peter Stokeby purely for that, because it was him. The first one that I know of that is actually present here is Linwood Hines, Doctor of Pipes, now Governor of Pipes, and still giving to the community. I don't know if there's anything more that we can award you, except you get to deal with us by email all year long. But founding member of the Conclave of Richmond Pipe Smokers group and show, the essence of a Virginia gentleman, and continues to give back as the governor of Doctor of Pipes.
David Field, hobbyist and importer of pipes and tobaccos. David was responsible for bringing many brands of pipe and pipe makers and products all to the USA, and we thank him for that.
Ben Rappaport, researcher and writer on many topics of pipe smoking, both popular and obscure. Ben has a knowledge of our hobby and a vocabulary larger than the Library of Congress. If you ever read his books, get ready, have a dictionary nearby. You're going to need it.
Michael Butera, the godfather of the American pipe making scene. Mike was also an importer and a big supporter of the American pipe shows.
And then I have another one that's here in the room. Rick Newcomb. Rick's writings are a must-read for any pipe collector. Rick, where are you? Stand up. There you are. Rick's writings are a must-read for any pipe collector, and he continues to learn about and share his passion for all things pipe and tobacco-related.
Marty Pulvers, retailer, importer, pipe show organizer, and a writer on the subject of pipes, tobaccos, and life, wielding wit and sarcasm like nobody else could.
Yeah. Mike Reschke, past president of the Chicago Pipe Club. Nancy's here. I mean, Mike had such an impact on the club that Nancy still comes back. Mike was always active in planning and executing the Chicago Pipe Show. Mike had a fantastic collection of Parker pipes, and if anybody wants to hear the story about Mike getting excited about one of my Disney pipes, just find me later.
Tom McCraney, a retailer that ran a pipe show and supported many shows around the country. Tom also brought us many important products like the famous McCraney's Red Ribbon and Red Flake blends.
Yum. Federico Baylander, a collector with a focus on antique Tobacciana, which is an art form that has gone by the wayside, including meerschaum, porcelain, and clay pipes. He was a library of information for all, and always brought like 3 or 4 tables of stuff, usually from the 16, 17, 1800s. Nothing new, like from when Steve was born in the turn of the 19th century.
I'm going to be talking about you here in a minute.
I got notes.
Your name's on my list, boy.
Yeah, I know.
Alberto Bonfiglioli, the pipe maker to the world. Alberto, from Italy, traveled the world to share his pipes, the love of pipe smoking, his love of pipe making, and always had a smile on his face.
And then I got Gib Robinson, who is one of my friends and neighbors in Charlotte, who is a larger-than-life collector with a passion for fine pipes, tobaccos, whiskey, and more. And I mean, fondly, Gib's still with us. He's just been in poor health lately, and I moved away from Charlotte. But I used to love running into him at McCraney's, and he was either the butt of a joke or giving a good joke, and kind of, hey, Steve, just like you.
Very funny. Fred Janusik, collector and the lifelong pipe smoking enthusiast we all love. Fred was always willing to give his time and share his experience with new pipe smokers around the world. He's famous as a lover of dry tobaccos.
And on our Saturday Zoom, where Fred Hanna occasionally pops in, we refer to Fred Janusik as the good Fred. Bill Taylor, pipe maker extraordinaire that traveled the world to show his pipes. He always enjoyed a good drink and a good chat, and really developed the Ashton brand, and would go anywhere to sell it and have a drink, especially if you paid.
All right, speaking of Fred Hanna, a writer and researcher of all things pipes and tobaccos related, he has a noted passion for straight grain pipes, a good laugh, and I don't know if I believe it or not, but says he and Greg Pease are now getting together to put together a blend of outstanding Virginia. I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm just reading what's there.
What
Bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Virginia bacon combination. We'll see if they get that done.
Go ahead, Fred. Stand up. Bacon. I'm not sure I'm bar mitzvahed for that. Speaking of that, Alan Schwartz. I have not heard how Alan's doing. Yeah. Alan was one... I wrote some gibberish here. Writer, publisher, and importer of all things pipes and tobacco. Alan was responsible for bringing many brands to the U.S. that he loved, and was happy to go to any pipe show or club. But honestly, if you go back and listen to the story times with Alan Schwartz that I recorded for the Pipes Magazine radio show, it's actually one of my favorite four or five show segments that I did.
John Ells, pipe collector, pipe maker, pipe restorer. John was a keystone of the Richmond pipe shows and many others in the USA.
And then I got Paul Creasy, who I worked for a short few minutes, which narrows that down to about half the people in the industry, the people that I worked for. Right, Sykes? Yeah, thank you. Paul ran the Sutliff Company, especially while it was under Altadas. Paul actually was really important in saving that factory and engineering the purchase by McBaron. And Paul was overly generous in his support of pipe shows and pipe clubs, sometimes too much with the samples, but thanks, Paul.
Next up is Mike McNeil, the one who worked night and day to make sure all McClellan's blends were the best they could be. While gruff at initial appearance, Mike was always up to tell a story and maybe educate the listener.
Maybe a long story. Tad Gage, longtime writer, publisher, tobacco reviewer, collector of Barling pipes. Tad is a wealth of knowledge and still active online and will answer any question that anybody ever asks him.
Lee Von Erck, a world-class pipe maker, a world-class gentleman. Lee's pipes have a style of their own, and Lee has traveled the United States and the world over showing them off and selling them.
Lee, stand up. I know you're here. The next one is also here, Rex Poggenpohl. So here's what I wrote about Rex, and this is from me personally. Rex is that pipe collector that has an eye for pipes. He's attended hundreds of pipe shows, part of the Chicago show organizing for years, and personally pushed my most I will spend on a pipe limit, not once, not twice, but 3 times. So thank you, Rex Poggenpohl.
Aaron Sissom, as the head of Music City Marketing in Uptowns in Nashville. Aaron has had his hand in importing and distributing too many brands to list. All this while traveling the U.S., supporting the hobby, which we of course appreciate.
Aaron, stand up. Now we're getting to the newer ones that some are still with us, thankfully. Yeah. Craig Cobine, past president of the Chicago show, Frank's right-hand man for many years before, just an avid collector of pipes, cigars, tobaccos, Porsches, and without him, obviously, this show would have died off years ago with Frank, so thank you, Craig.
Next up, I'm going to pull a Frank Burla on this one, see if you can guess the rabbit. Here we go. This individual has recently moved to Florida, is a conductor. Go away. Is a conductor for one of the Walt Disney choo-choo trains at Disney World. He's worked for just about every pipe and tobacco company there is in the United States and beyond.
True.
He's also an individual who has done a great deal for the hobby, strengthened it, not only getting a lot of the younger people, but pulling some of us older people into the 21st century by starting a podcast on pipesmagazine.com, which I think is always rated in the top 10 of radio shows in the country. And
related to pipes and tobaccos.
He related to pipes and tobacco.
Hosted by a guy named Brian.
Mostly. And then, to top all that off, he has been the driving force in continuing the Las Vegas Pipe Show, which is now known as the Las Vegas International Pipe Show, and bringing it up to absolutely unbelievable heights, and we appreciate him for that. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Levine.
I want you all to know, and I have the original copies available, I wrote on here my name and I said, feel free to have as much fun with me as you want.
Oh, is that what it said?
That might have been a message for your wife, but she's not here, I'm sorry. Moving right along, my classmate, Dennis, are you here? Dennis Congus, a collector of, Rick, are you ready for this? Where's Rick? Cheriton pipes. Dennis especially kind of made famous the cup and saucer shape as a collectible piece, and he was part of the Cheriton Pipe Club, and was always willing to nurture new pipe smokers on their path, especially as he worked in secondary education and colleges and get them young, right? Dennis, are you in the room? No. Okay. Thank you, Dennis.
Chuck Stanyon, writer and editor extraordinaire of more articles about pipes and tobaccos than he can remember. His letters to the editor and work in the Daily Reader on, of course, smokingpipes.com are classic American writings.
And Chuck's not here because he's at home writing about me. Gene Umberger. Gene, are you, stand up, please. Gene is a collector of not just pipes, but all things written about pipes and tobaccos. If it was printed, then Gene has it in his collection, or wants it for his collection, right?
Gregory Pease, the founder, creator, and blender of GLP's tobaccos, and the original Dark Lord of the pipe smoking internet.
Stand up, Greg. Vernon Vig, lifelong pipe smoker that traveled the world with his pipes. Vernon was active for many years at pipe shows, and was active with the UPCA. He started the International Pipe Smoking Day movement.
Rob Cooper, avid pipe smoker, collector of W.O. Larson pipes in particular, and an enthusiast that took his love of the hobby and, in fact, became the first big seller of pipes on eBay.
Steve, you know what eBay is?
Heard of it.
Okay. Paul Bender, Chicagoan, loved his Cheriton pipes. Right, Rick? Thank you. Loved helping plan and run the Chicago pipe shows for many years. And for many, many years, Paul was the one that organized and put on and ran this dinner here for the Chicago Pipe Show, all the way back to the days when we could actually smoke at the dinner.
Steve Monjour, importer and distributor of many brands over the years. He attended and supported every pipe show possible, all while wearing his trademark pink shirt.
Loved his pink shirts. John Toll. In fact, we were just talking about the tobacco earlier, but past president of the NASPC, longtime collector of large and unique pipes, a car collector, and really responsible for a lot of those NASPC show blends in conjunction with a certain Gregory Pease.
Sykes Wilford, entrepreneur, founder of Ladisi Enterprises, smokingpipes.com. And all associated companies. Thankfully, Sykes has used his powers for good and not evil.
Steve, why did you write that?
I didn't, it just came out.
Okay. Jeff Knoll, who is the current president of the NASPC, the longtime publisher of the Pipe Collector newsletter, which I hope you all are members of. It's only like 20-something bucks a year. Attended hundreds of pipe shows to promote the NASPC, and is the current organizer of the NASPC show in Columbus.
Mark Irwin, passionate pipe collector, researcher, and writer on pipes and tobaccos. And when the Peterson Pipe Company has a question, they call Mark.
And there's Mark. The next one on here that I have just says, the Pipestud. Which we, so Steve Fallon, the Pipestud, which we found out was not what his wife called him. But Steve has been, well, besides working with me on, let me tell you the personal story of Steve.
I'd rather you tell the story I wrote for you.
Steve was born a poor sharecropper. No. Steve and I have done the. We missed 2 years of the JDRF fundraisers, and the kind of guy that Steve is through his Pipestud web store and through his eBay sales. I came to him and I said, let's auction these things off and raise some money for type 1 diabetes. Steve said, okay, fine, and didn't charge any of the commissions, didn't charge any of the, he ate the eBay fees and shipped all the stuff for free. Steve is also the one that has made all of our wives wondering, when is she gonna die? When's that guy gonna die? And how soon can I ship my tobacco to Steve Fallon? Steve is that guy, so thank you, Steve.
Well, thank you. Steve Weiner, a longtime ambassador for pipe smoking and many years of service to the UPCA and all pipe events associated.
And a good lawyer, so stand up. J.T. Cook, the innovator in the art of sandblasting a pipe. He was the first to look at the grain in a different way, and Fred Hanna is just cringing at the idea of sandblasting a straight grain. And turn a sandblast pipe into a first product and not a second.
Regis McCafferty, a fantastic writer of fiction that worked pipe smoking into his stories. First president of the NASPC, Regis is an enthusiast that also writes frequently about just plain old pipes.
Scott Thiele, I know you're here. Stand up, please. So Scott started off as a musician, then became a pipe smoker and a pipe maker, but most importantly, the founder of the highly important passion project known as Pipepedia. And let me add in one other thing that we talked about, Grammy nominations. Scott's got a platinum record. So thank you, Scott.
Tom Eltang started making pipes as a youngster, and now over 50 years later, he's still a big kid and always says, "It's good to be a pipe maker," in a rather different kind of a slang than what I say. Texan and Danish don't go together. But anyway, he continues to grow the pipe making world by educating younger pipe makers and making them maybe become one day another Tom Eltang.
And accepting his award, because Tom wasn't here last year, but accepting his award is Rex Poggenpohl, who will be delivering it to Pia, who will then be flying it back to Denmark. Right, Rex?
Real quickly, on behalf of Tom and his family, he's very honored with this. He couldn't be here because of health reasons. His wife is here. She will pick it up later tonight. And just want to tell you that his impact on the Chicago show and many pipe makers here in America is vast. He has supported the show. I met him in 1999, and he introduced me to 4 or 5 other pipe makers, and we talked them into coming to the show, and it's meant a lot to the show. Thank you.
And then finally, of the past recipients, because we're all winners here, aren't we? After all. Marco Paracenzo, the longtime importer and distributor of Castello pipes, now Dunhill pipes. Traveling from Italy, you can see Marco at many events to promote Castello pipes, and now the White Spot. I'm sorry, White Spot. Yes, White Spot pipes. And now we go on to those that are receiving their, I guess, the 2025 class. And Steve, since you're seated, you want me to do mine first and then you do yours second?
You're in charge.
All right, so I'll do this in the Frank Burla method and not let you know who it is because we don't want any head blenders getting excited early. I submit this person as candidate for Doctor of Pipes in the trade category. Born in 1980, he grew up in a small town in eastern New Mexico, moving away from home at an early age. He began as a cigar smoker in 1999 before discovering the joys of the pipe in 2003, while working at Blue Havana Tobacconist right here in Chicago, where he ultimately became a manager. From there, he worked for Chuck Levy at Ewan Reese from 2007 to 2009, following a sojourn managing a food truck in Portland, Oregon, but very much continuing his enthusiasm for pipes and pipe tobacco. He moved across the country to join the Smoking Pipes team in 2013, where he spent a bit more than a year in customer service, helping pipe smokers pick out pipes and pipe tobaccos. And then, as he said once to me on a certain podcast, he got pulled into an awkward meeting and was like going, "What's going on?" And then it says, but it was clear to all from the beginning that customer service wouldn't be his final role at Smoking Pipes. Following Laudisi's acquisition of Cornell & Deal in 2014, he, leaning on his deep knowledge of pipe tobacco and his culinary background, was tapped to become head blender for the pipe tobacco manufacturer to replace Ted Conley, who planned to retire in late 2014. Since then, he and his history and the history of Cornell & Deal have been thoroughly intertwined. Often as a hobby and an industry, we hold up blenders or master blenders as celebrated, but largely publicly focused roles. For him, it has been very much real, from sourcing tobacco from across the United States and more widely from all over the world, to being deeply involved in the process and mechanics of the factory, to troubleshooting machinery, to, yes, developing every pipe tobacco that Cornell & Deal has released in the past decade. Jeremy. His involvement in the creation of Cornell & Deal in its present incarnation cannot be overstated. He played a key role in the resurrection of traditional Perique cultivation and processing methods through Cornell & Deal's support of and collaboration with 31 farms in the St. James Parish, Louisiana. This was a multi-year labor of love for him, Jeremy, as well as an exercise in protecting a key ingredient in so many C&D products. With the Roussells, he had partners in this process that believed in putting in the hard work to do the Perique the right way with hand-harvested, hand-stripped, 100% St. James Perique, carefully turned into Perique in a process that takes a year. He has similarly collaborated with Latakia growers in Turkey, personally, yuck, and has worked to find farms to hand prime tobacco in North Carolina. Possessing a sophisticated palate and a deep understanding of tobaccos and their properties, as well as processing techniques, he has taken these hard-won ingredients and created some of the most celebrated products in the past few years, from Carolina Red Flake, with Perique, right? Okay. To Sun Bear, and yet he remains an enthusiast with a great love of handmade pipes, with a collection that's a who's who of Danish, American, German, and Greek pipe makers. He's a pipe smoking idealist. He believes deeply in the hobby and believes deeply in what he does to serve that hobby. With McClellan's closing in 2018 and Henrik Hallberg's passing in 2021, no one has taken pipe tobacco seriously in the way that C&D has, and that impetus to excel has come primarily from him, Jeremy. There is just one American pipe tobacco factory remaining, the one led by Jeremy Reeves. Let's not take for granted, one who continues to fight the good fight every day, shepherding a pipe tobacco factory through regulatory minefields and supply challenges, and always insisting that it makes tobacco the right way. For 2025, for the industry, the head blender of Cornell and Diehl, Jeremy Reeves.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. That is a lot for somebody to say about you, and then get up and say something back. So, yeah, I'm deeply humbled and moved. There are, of course, more people to thank than my ADD will allow me to remember. I made notes, and they're all not up to the task either. Yeah, all I can say is thanks to this hobby, being the kind of people who bring weirdos and misfits and people who are idealists in and giving them things to be excited about, and giving them opportunities to share that excitement. Sorry, I'm normally not this nervous because I'm talking about inanimate things like tobacco. Yeah, there's some very important people on my list that I just can't miss thanking. Jeff Moran, who many of you probably knew, gave me my first pipe. Jeff told me basically that as much as I enjoyed cigars, that I was wasting my time and that there was something deeper and greater to appreciate in smoking a pipe. And he gave me a sandblasted Stanwell billiard. This is while I was working at Blue Havana. Sykes, by the way, I assume you wrote all of that or most of that. I'll hire you later to write my obituary. That's probably true. Yeah, Jeff turned me on to pipes and pipe tobacco, and also Mark Thomas here in Chicago. He was the owner of Blue Havana, who hired me. Sue Frame, who was my manager there, and who taught me so much about tobacco, about pipes, and about all sorts of things about the industry. Who also introduced me to Josh Weiser, who is here. Josh is one of my longtime friends in this industry and just a great guy all around. Chuck and Sue Levy, who allowed me to work at Yvonne Reese and who taught me so much more about pipes and pipe tobacco. John Eads and all of the folks at Pyro Pizza, who gave me opportunities galore to make all sorts of food in all sorts of different ways. Craig and Patty Tarler, who took a great number of risks to start a small business in their home because they just thought tobacco was really cool, and who made it something special and created a business that now I get to help carry on that legacy. I want to thank all of the people at Cornell and Diehl who hold down the fort and who make things every day to the specifications that we've set forth, who use the tobaccos that we're able to source and treat them with respect, and take their jobs seriously and produce things for this hobby to enjoy, and are a great support to me. I have so many people in the tobacco industry, so many people on the list of masters and doctors that I've also gotten opportunities to work with over the years, and that's deeply humbling to me that others who have been honored in this way, I've been able to work with, and now I'm being honored in the same way. Means a lot. Sykes Wilford and Shane and all of my colleagues at Laudisi who have shared with me not just opportunities and not just employment, but real friendship and a sharing of knowledge and a sharing of connections in the community and an opportunity to have a platform to share about tobacco and to share about pipes and to share about the way that this hobby does the most important thing, that I think anything can do, which is to bring people together. There's so many more, but I'll end here just by saying thank you to all of you. Thank you to the other masters, to the other doctors. I'm deeply moved. Thank you.
All right, and now for the second nominee, back to you in the studio, Steve.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the second honoree,
Honors.
not ornery, not like you're an honoree.
Oh, they're telling me to get back here. Okay. A benchmark characteristic of Doctor of Pipes is their inherent compulsion to do a good thing for the hobby and the people in it. Dave Peterson has been improving the lives, smoking experiences, and pipe show triumphs of enthusiasts for decades, mostly staying in the background. Keeping in a low profile like that is hard for a man who is approximately 9 feet tall, and whose gravitational charm and friendliness, it is reported, levitates pipes from show tables to orbit around him like admiring devotees chanting, "Dave, buy me, buy me." Only Dave Peterson could earn literal pipe groupies, all vying to join his rotation. That's how popular he is. It isn't documented, but legend often developed from real circumstances and should not be disregarded. People like Dave too, and he likes them, especially pipe smokers. He is a collector and enthusiast, of course, especially regarding pipe literature and Costello pipes, though he also enjoys everything else pipe-related. He has displayed his Costello collection at pipe shows for all to enjoy and learn from. Some of them come from Chuck Rio's collection. Many originated with the collection of Mike Davis and Mike McCain, whom he had admired when they were displaying their education and their history by showing off their Costello collections. Hawkbills at various shows long ago, you can remember Mike and Mike, as they were called, and Dave Peterson has certainly followed in their footsteps. Dave had an early interest in pipes and started smoking them regularly back in 1977 at the age of 14. It didn't stunt his growth, or if it did, he lost a chance of being 11 foot tall. So he's contributed to exposing that fallacy, though he was still younger than advised. 20 years had passed when he first discovered pipe shows, opening a new world to him. He attended his first show in St. Louis in 1997 and has been attending shows and occasionally exhibiting ever since. His Costello collection was featured in an educational display at the Chicago show in 2013. He chose to highlight Costellos, Epicas, and Cirocs. Those were his finishes of choice, and they certainly were well received. Not satisfied with participation only at shows, Dave has been particularly active online. If you've seen the handle Dave in LA on forums, then you know his contributions are insightful and worthwhile, leveraging his 40-plus years of experience to benefit others. And he quietly answers questions thoroughly, and I do mean thoroughly. For example, on pipesmagazine.com one day, a forum member posted that he wanted to learn about a certain pipe, a Costello. And Dave answered, "Good-looking pipe. It's a shape 65. The clue to how old it is the U.S. stamping, and started around in 1997, and the Carlos Coty in the oval signatures, the change to Kano later in 2007. So that's your pipe. I hope you enjoy it." The gentleman has never appeared on Pipes Magazine's forum since then. It isn't just Costello questions that motivate him. He contributes truly useful information in subjects like humidification, lighter repair, specific tobacco and brands, pipe shapes, Dunhill finishes, pipe shows, stem material. He's a virtual encyclopedia of experience and information, and he eagerly shares it. If he wants everyone to enjoy a pipe, he wants them to enjoy them as much as he does. Dave has worked regularly in pipe shops throughout his life and has found enormous satisfaction in helping new pipe smokers avoid the missteps that so many succumb to. We'd have fewer pipe smokers if not for Dave Peterson. But perhaps his most impressive contribution has been running the Las Vegas International Pipe Show with his show partner, Brian Levine. And let's acknowledge anyone who can work closely with Brian for the time necessary to plan and deliver shows deserves to be knighted, sainted, and universally admired. Patience like that certainly should be rewarded. There would be no Las Vegas show without Dave, according to Brian. And Brian, Dave said he's right. Dave has been attending the Chicago show and many others since the late 1990s and leverages some of that experience as he organizes volunteers at the Las Vegas show and arranges the suites, takes care of the raffles, handles all the details that most of us don't even think of, like ashtrays, tablecloths, schedules, awards, among 1,000 of other essential particulars. He stays organized and he keeps the show organized. We always have many appropriate candidates for the Doctor of Pipes Award, but Dave Peterson is especially competent, capable, knowledgeable, and influential. He generously and unwaveringly dedicates his time and energy to the improvement of the pipe smoking world and the pipe smoking experiences that we enjoy today. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give Dave Peterson your thoughtful consideration for being one of the greatest guys you ever met. Dave Peterson, ladies and gentlemen. He's here saying that I think you ought to do it.
Come on. Who is that guy?
I'll have you know I did not write
My honor.
10% of that. No. I actually didn't write any of it because it's got a lot of big words, proof that Steve couldn't pronounce them. All right, Dave, you ready? I know how much you love microphones. There you go.
Oh, thank you, Brian. Oh, so sweet.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Oh, thank you, Steve, for that kind and very generous introduction. For your friendship over the years, it means a lot. All right, isn't this where the world's most interesting man is supposed to take over? Steve Norris, is where? Come on, help a brother out. All right, well, I love this. I love collecting pipes. I love this hobby. This is dedicated to David Melnick and the late Chuck Rio. May he rest in peace. Dear friends, my brothers and sisters of the Briar, thank you to Linwood and the doctors and the masters for this honor. Thank you to the Chicagoland Pipe Collectors Club and the show committee, volunteers, especially Tim and Ronnie, for keeping Frank's vision of the big show going and growing. It's been some tough times, but they've just done a great job with it. I want to recognize Jeremy, Pete, and Tom for their accomplishments both in the hobby and in business. I also want to thank my wife, Lori, who takes a quiet pride in our collection and that has put up with our lives revolving around this hobby. From hosting pipe club get-togethers to patiently waiting with the kids while I've ducked into pipe shops across the country,
to now as a partner with Brian and Dale in our Las Vegas International Pipe Show. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. To borrow the perfect line from Neil Osborne, I found my people at pipe shows. Some of my best times have been here at the Chicagoland International Pipe and Tobacciana Show. It's not just the pipes, but it's those long and close relationships I've built with guys sitting around smoke-filled hotel rooms who understand and share my passion for collecting pipes. So many of my treasured memories of pipe dreams coming true continue to happen here at the Chicago show. I'm humbled of this honor. Thank you very much. Oh wait, hold on. I forgot all about this. You know, now that I'm a doctor of pipes, I'm here to help you. I took the liberty of getting a pipe prescription pad, and I'm willing and able to write time off excuses and to prescribe your next pipe and tobacco purchase right here. Have a great show, everybody. Thank you.